All right, ma'am, that sounds good, but need to get you tricking number, okay? Yeah, he wants my tricking number. Would you accept a goat as trade for a heat press? We have too many, which you must need to make a deposit so that I can hold the stuffs. I'm literally so sick of scammers trying to steal money from everybody. It's hard to believe that there's so many people out there who make a living simply by tricking others and stealing their money. It's gotten so bad on Facebook specifically that I'm blocking dozens of scammers every single week. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to detect and avoid a Cricut scam. You'll learn what to look out for, examples of common scams, and I'm even going to show you conversations that I've had with actual scammers in my group. I wanted to figure out how their scams work, so the best way for me to do that is by messaging them and seeing what they say. I'm going to show you 8 different examples of scammers who have tried to post in my group recently. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kerri. My channel is about all things Cricut, but I really like to teach people how they can make money working from home with their own small business using their Cricut machine. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I have a Cricut group on Facebook. It's very large. It has over 88,000 members in it. My group is called Cricut From Beginner to Business by Cricketer. My group is always growing. I get hundreds of new requests for people joining every single week, which is awesome, but unfortunately, many of the people who try to join my group are scammers. After moderating this group for so long, it's gotten really easy for me to spot out the scammers right away. But if you don't know what you're looking for, then it could be very easy for you to fall victim to some of these scams. I was only able to figure out which types of posts were scams because I see the same ones over and over again. If I suspect that somebody's a scammer, I'll also go and check out their Facebook profile page and do some digging. And just taking one look at their profile usually tells me all I need to know whether they're a scammer or not. I'm going to show you the types of things to look out for so you'll be able to spot these scammers as fast as I do. So this right here is an example of one of the most common types of scams that I see. It's usually somebody posting a ton of sublimation and Cricut stuff for sale. I'm not talking just like one Cricut machine. It's like, oh, I'm doing a mega D-stash. My business is closing. I'm selling $10,000 worth of Cricut stuff, but you can buy it for just a few $100s. I want you to know that if it sounds too good to be true, it is. These posts are always scams. Before I show you the rest of the scammers who tried to post in my group, I'm going to share some facts with you about scams. Nigeria is the #1 most popular country in the world for scammers, followed by India, China, Brazil, and Pakistan. This is important for you to know because if you go and search the profiles of these people you suspect are scammers, you'll often find that they are from these regions. That is an instant red flag. Several of the scammers that I'm going to show you in this video have ties to Nigeria, and I found that out through looking at their Facebook profile. There are many common types of online scams. The first one that I'm going to talk to you about is called phishing. It's not the fishing with a pole, it's the phishing the scammers use. Phishing is when scammers send emails or other types of messages pretending to be reputable companies trying to steal your personal information such as your credit cards, your email, your address, social security number, any kind of personal information. I get text messages from scammers like these all the time. Here are some examples of phishing scams that I got texted to me. You can see them pretending to be reputable companies like Amazon, Netflix, or UPS. They want you to click on their link, which is a scam link, and then they're going to try to steal your personal information such as your passwords, your login info. Once they have that, they can plug it into many other platforms because a lot of people use the same login information across all different platforms. So once they have that info, they can pretend to be you and log into these companies. So Doris here says, I'm selling all my sublimation items. I just don't have the time to do it. If you have something in particular, message me for pricing. I have a tumbler, heat press, Cricut Maker 3, Epson sublimation printer, lots of shirts, children and adult sizes, baby blankets, tumblers, kids water bottles, glass, and all kinds of shirts in different sizes, cups, Crocs, willing to sell separately. Here's another post by someone called Princess Yaks. This person is still on Facebook. I just looked them up. I report all of these scammers to Facebook all the time and they do absolutely nothing about it. They tell me that it's not a scam and they're just going to leave the profile up. So that's why I'm making this video, so you can be warned and know what to look for so you don't fall victim to any of these scams. So this girl says, hello everyone, I'm Patience selling out my sublimation and Cricut items as I don't have time for sublimation and I'm planning to start something new. The items consist of an easy press, auto press, heat press, mug and tumbler press, sub printers, ice maker, Cricut Maker 3, Cricut Joy, embroidery machine, hoodies, and lots more. I'm kind of curious what an ice maker is. I've never heard of that in the Cricut world. Just send me a message if you're interested on them items. Being the curious person that I am, I clicked on her Facebook profile, and the first thing I see is that she lives in Nigeria. Red flag! Let's talk about some of the main warning signs of a scam. Like I mentioned before, if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. If you see someone selling $10,000 worth of Cricut stuff and they only want $500 for it, that's a scam. These scammers are definitely going to have a sense of urgency. They want you to rush into making this decision, so you send over money before you have time to even really think about it. The next scammer that I'm going to show you, his name was Robert, and he was definitely very persistent, trying to get me to give him $500 deposits right away to hold the merchandise. Like, I instantly knew it was a scam, but I was just messing with him anyways, so I'll show you that chat in just a few minutes. The next thing that these scammers are going to do is request your personal information. They might want your email address, your banking information, your credit card, some way to pay for this merchandise. Another thing to look out for is if somebody contacts you out of the blue. The next thing to look out for is poorly written posts. That Princess Yak girl that I showed you a few moments ago, her post is a great example of a poorly written post. She said, I'm patient selling sublimation stuff. She threw in an ice maker. Like, it didn't make sense. And that's probably because she's from Nigeria and English isn't her first language. So her posts aren't going to make very much sense. Another thing to look out for is if the requests are overly personal. So a lot of times these people will call you dear. They'll try to get to know more about you, ask you questions about yourself. They want to keep the conversation going so that they can steal your money. If you want to read more about these scams, I'll include links down in my video description to these websites that I'm showing you now, where you can read all about scammers and how they do it. So let's move on to the next scammer on my list. Scammer number 3, Robert Johnson. This guy really pissed me off. So he goes and he tries to make a post in my Facebook group. I turned post approval on, so nobody can post in my group without me seeing it first. I really didn't want to turn this on because I liked people being able to post right away and not have to wait for me to see the notification on my phone and read it and approve it. But after getting so many scammers in my group, I had to turn post approval on. So you can rest assured that if you join my group, you're really not going to run into many scammers, because I try to detect them, delete, ban, block. I get rid of them as soon as I find them. And I have some really great people in my group where if they do see them, they report the scammers to me right away, because sometimes the scammers will sneak their comments into other people's posts. People are really sneaky, so watch this video so you learn how to watch out for them. So Robert Johnson says, message me if you're interested in buying my items, thank you. That doesn't sound too crazy, right? Then he goes to attach 30 pages of items that he's selling for sale. I've been cricketing for 3 years. I had my own business and I didn't have a fraction of this amount of stuff. No normal Cricut person would have this amount of stuff. Like, I don't even think Jennifer Maker has this much Cricut stuff. So I went and clicked on good old Robert Johnson's profile to see what I could find. I scrolled down to his likes so then I could see the different types of things that he was liking. So Robert likes something called Cindy, Coco Bless, Man UTD Transfer News, and another Man UTD Transfer News. So I clicked on this Man United Transfer News to see what it was. And it's some kind of sports news page, and the location is out of Nigeria. So we have a pretty good sense that Robert is from Nigeria. So I decided to go ahead and message Robert because I wanted to see how his scam worked. I said, how much for the heat press? He said $79. Mind you, Robert has like 20 different heat presses in his listing, so he doesn't go to ask like, oh, which one are you interested in? Any of that. He's just like, $79. Robert asked me where I'm located, and I just make up something. I say, I'm from Idaho. He says, are you interested in just that? So I say, how much for everything? He says, hold, I want to calculate, ma'am. I have 257 pieces of shirts available now, and I do give them out at $4 each, but I will discount it, okay? So I say, what a bargain. Do you have a store? Not really. You need all the shirts? What's your shipping address, ma'am? So before we even get into like the specifics of what I want, the heat press, how many shirts, what specifically, he's already asking me for my home address. So I say, I'm not sure, I need to think about it. All right, says Robert. So I say, where are you located? I bet shipping all that would be expensive. How can you sell that for so cheap? Under $1,000? Wowee, what a deal that must be. $50,000 worth of equipment? He tells me that he's located in Pennsylvania. So I say, oh, I meant everything. All 30 pages of his goods. No, sorry. I'm getting a new business going, selling chicken merch, I say. All right, that sounds good. I love chickens. At this point, I knew that Robert was a scammer and I really just wanted to mess with him. I actually do like chickens. I have a chicken channel on TikTok called Floofy Farm. So if you go on TikTok, you can follow me on there. He says, really? And I say, do you love chickens? He says, yeah. Do you think chicken merch will sell good? Are you into sublimation? Robert says. And I say, do you have any business tips? You'd think that somebody with $50,000 worth of Cricut and sublimation merch would have some business tips, so I wanted to know. He says, I can't say anything for now because I'm just into this, ma'am. And I said, what are you into? And he says, sublimation items. I say, how about $5,000 for everything? Oh, no, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Can you make it $5,500? All together with shipping? What a bargain. Just $5,000 for all of these blanks, heat presses, shirts, Cricut machines, attachments. Now, I obviously don't want to buy any of this stuff, and I wanted to figure out where he lived, so I was trying to get him to give me a location where I could go and pick up this stuff personally. So I said, sure can. Whereabouts in Pennsylvania are you? My Aunt Cricut lives out there. See how I used Cricut? Maybe I could have her swing by with cash in a truck. I've been meaning to visit. Time flies. All right, ma'am, that sounds good, but need to get you tricking number, okay? Yeah, he wants my tricking number. Would you accept a goat as trade for a heat press? We have too many. Which you must need to make a deposit so that I can hold the stuffs. Remember earlier how I mentioned to watch out for poorly worded posts or messages back and forth? This guy, he does not speak very good English. Robert didn't like when I suggested a goat, so he says, go away, please, Alaye. And I was really confused. I'm like, what the heck does Alaye mean? I've never heard that before. So I copied and pasted Alaye into Google, and I was shocked at what came up next. I found out that Alaye is a code word used by scammers to reveal themselves to each other. This says that in the context of an internet scam, it's a code word meaning, okay, I'm a scammer and I know you know it. Don't waste my time any further. But this doesn't stop me. I want to continue messing with Robert. So I say, lots of farmers out in Pennsylvania. You never know who needs an extra goat. How much is the deposit and how do I pay? So then he says, all right, Alaye. Now that's the second time he used this word. Can you make amount of deposit and I hold the items for you? I really want to be sure if you are getting them, okay? Question mark, question mark. I said, we're practically neighbors. I'll swing by with cash tomorrow. Then you won't get taxed. Winky face. More money in your pocket. I say, how much is the deposit and how do I pay? And then he responds by saying, you are making $2,700 deposits. I said, where can I send Aunt Cricut to pick up? Then he replies to my question about who needs an extra goat and says, I must have to ask friend. And then he asks, what's your method of payment? I tell him my method of payment is chickens. I have thousands, so I will make chicken shirts. Robert says, I don't understand. I do accept PayPal or Zelle and Cash App. Which of it are you using for your deposit? I was a little surprised to hear him say that he accepts PayPal because usually scammers don't use PayPal. They use Zelle or Cash App, but some scammers do use PayPal. I'm going to take a quick moment to talk to you about PayPal scams because you might think that PayPal is safe and secure, but it is not exempt from scammers. They do find a way to scam within PayPal. So this says that sometimes a scammer may make a payment to a seller's PayPal account that exceeds the cost of the item they are purchasing. Then they will contact the seller and explain that they overpaid and ask for the remaining balance to be paid back to them. After the seller sends back the overpayment amount, the scammer sends a complaint to PayPal claiming that their account was compromised and that they never meant to send a payment to the seller in the first place. PayPal reimburses the full original amount payment back to the scammer, and even if the scammer hasn't shipped out the purchased item yet, they've still lost the overpaid amount they sent back. Fortunately, the scheme is easy to avoid. One option is to simply refuse to accept any direct payments through PayPal, instead insisting that customers use the checkout system. If you really need to accept direct payments, you can still prevent the scam by refunding the entire purchase and requesting a new payment for the correct purchase amount. There's also PayPal phishing scams. PayPal sellers can also be targeted by phishing scams. A seller might reveal an email that appears to be from PayPal indicating that a pending fund transfer awaits their confirmation. It will include a clickable link or button. This link leads to a fake PayPal site that will ask for the seller's login credentials. If the seller enters their email and password into the fake site, the scammer will be able to use them to log into the seller's actual PayPal account from which they can make payments or withdraw funds. This could be a really easy scam to fall victim to if you don't know what you're looking for. So let's say that I send Robert my email, and then Robert might say, I'm going to send you an email and I want you to pay through that link. Now, if I don't know any better and the link that he sends me looks like PayPal and I go over there to send him money through it, but it's not actually PayPal and I log in using my real PayPal login information, then now Robert has all of my login information to PayPal. So that's kind of how these PayPal schemes work. So back to the chat, I tell Robert, I'll have my Aunt Cricut bring cash to your place. What's your address and availability? He tells me, you need deposit, ma'am. Sorry. I want to be sure of you coming to get them, okay? Because I have others here texting me for the items too. So I'm really sorry. Thank you. I say, that's okay. I don't need to buy it all. She can come to your store and shop what's left. So he says, all right. I say, where is it? And he says, South Bend Township, Pennsylvania. You know what? Guess what? Chicken butt. It seems you really need the stuffs, right? I say, yeah, I have a lot of chicken merch I gotta sell. Now he wants to see my chicken merch. I tell Robert that I'm not ready to share my chicken merch yet. Top secret. So he tells me, okay, have a nice time. I say, I can't wait to see your shop. I need lots of new things. And at this point, it's 11:17 at night, and this man tries to call me. I tell Robert, it is dark, I cannot talk. 11:18 p.m., sir. I will see you tomorrow. What time do you open? He says 8 a.m. How convenient. I tell Robert, great, thank you. And then he says, I have people who need good from me, ma'am. Can you just make just $500 deposits? I say, I'm sure you will have lots by morning. It's only a few hours away. Mind you, his store opens at 8 and it's already 11 at night, so. He says, so that I can hold the items, I want to be sure of you, okay? I say, you can show me what you have left tomorrow. You had lots and lots in your listing, and I'm sure I will still leave with a trunk full. Do you offer a warranty on electronics? He says, okay. Sweet dreams, don't sell too much while I slumber. Thumbs up from Robert. So I message him back the next day. I say, I went looking for your store and I couldn't find it because, you know, the address he gave me wasn't an actual address. It was just a town within Pennsylvania. I say, I told you that I lived in Idaho. We're neighbors. So this part really shocked me. So I go on Google Maps and I type in South Bend. And it just so happens that the town right next to South Bend is Idaho. So I say, I told you I lived in Idaho. We're neighbors. Who knew that there was so much great wholesale stuff right next door? And I say, if I can find your building. Dear Robert, I really need these items to start my chicken merch business. He says, hello, I am here. Sorry, I was down and I travel out, was just changed location with family. I thought you are not coming anymore. I was not having time to text here, just seeing your message now. I'm sorry for that, but don't worry, I can ship the items to you, okay? I'm really sorry, ma'am. Just got in a new job at Memphis, Tennessee, so I moved to Memphis with family. What's your zip so I can ship the stuffs to you? How interesting that in less than 12 hours, Robert has moved all of his stuff, his family, his business, all the things that he's selling. Within 12 hours, he moved it from Pennsylvania to Tennessee. He was very busy, so that's why he couldn't text me back. The real reason that Robert couldn't text me back is that he is in Nigeria and the times are different than America. So it's 5 in the morning and Robert starts blowing up my phone. He says, hello, ma'am, are you there? He calls me. I missed the call at 5:21 because obviously I'm sleeping at 5 in the morning. Are you still interested in the items? Question mark, question mark. What do you do? Another call. An hour later at 6:25. Tell me how many times somebody has tried to buy something from you on Facebook and then you go blowing up their phone at 5 in the morning. You can see good old Robert Johnson blowing up my phone. So at this point, it's 5 in the morning and this idiot is waking me up and I'm starting to get really mad. So I say, I'm effing sleeping, idiot. It's the middle of the night. I want the Alaye heat press, all of them. I decided to drop his scam code word. And then I say, you probably don't know what time it is because you're in Nigeria. He says, I don't understand. Then he tries to call me again. hello, ma'am. So I tell him, you do not understand because you are a Nigerian scammer, sir. Alaye. He says, bro. I say, you taught me a new word. And he says, de play. So then I send him the Google screenshot of the definition of Alaye. He tells me, I don't understand. I can't watch you calling me names here. Bye. And then I go and I block him. I went into my Cricut Facebook group and I went to my post approval and I clicked delete post and ban member. And then I have the option to check all 4 of these boxes, which I always do. So I block and delete Robert, and I kid you not, like 30 seconds later, I get a message from Valerie Denise, who looks a lot like Robert, but with a wig. Valerie says, hello, ma'am. I say hello back. Doing what I always do, I click on Valerie's profile because I want to see more. Now we go down to Valerie's likes, and what is the first thing that they like? Adoration Ministry, Enugu, Nigeria, Amen, Holy Spirit is our power. So back to the chat, Valerie says, you commented on my post that you are interested in my sublimation items. Have you gotten them already? I say, no, Robert, I have not. Because I know this is Robert, I just blocked the idiot. He/she says, what are the items you need? Now, Valerie doesn't even go on to be like, who's Robert? I'm not Robert, I'm Valerie, because Robert is Valerie, and he doesn't even think to question that. I say, I want the Alaye heat press with Alaye vinyl, the Alaye cutter, and a Scammer 3.0. What do you mean by Alaye? That's the brand, Robert, and a Scamtron 3000. And then at this point, I block Valerie because I'm sick of these idiots. Then I have another example of somebody doing the same thing in my Cricut group. So Abba Jones tries to make a post. It says, Bella Canvas D-Stash. I got all adult sizes up to 4XL. I just got a printer, Cricut press, tumblers, frosted glass, blah, 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 blah. PM me if interested. So I scroll through the post and it's all kinds of pictures of merchandise because this is what these scam posts always look like. Tons of stuff for sale for dirt cheap. Message me to buy it. Give me your email, your address, all of your personal information so I can steal your identity, get all your login information, your passwords, everything that I'm not supposed to have because I'm a scammer. So then I went and I reported Abba's profile to Facebook, even though it's pointless because they don't do anything. I also blocked and removed her and all of her future profiles and stuff from my group. Then shocker, I get another post like this from Tiffany Jeffcoats. Looks almost identical to the other ones. I'm not going to waste your time going through all of this stuff anymore. I clicked on her profile. I saw that it was like a new profile. She had no photos, nothing. Like these are all signs of scammers. If you click on their profile and it's new, or if they have like 2 photos, no post, likes from Nigeria, these are all scammers. So earlier I told you that if a scammer tries to get into my group by posting, and I have to pre-approve it, then I automatically delete their posts and stuff. But what scammers will also try to do is be sneaky and not make their own posts, but they'll go into somebody else's post and then leave their scam post in the comments. We have Anna Chris over here who left a comment under that post, and it says, Missy Caitlin, join the chat. And then it has some kind of link to Telegram. I've never used Telegram before. I wasn't even sure what it is, so I Googled it. I found out that Telegram scams are a favorite among hackers and scammers. Telegram scams are similar to fake text messages, scam emails, and robocalls you receive every day. Scammers use social engineering tactics to trick you into giving up personally identifiable information, such as your credit card number, social security number, 2-factor authentication codes for crypto and social media accounts. Here are how some of the typical Telegram scams play out. There's phishing attacks. The Telegram user poses as someone you'd otherwise trust, such as a friend, colleague, or a customer support agent, to trick you into giving up your personal information. There was another comment that I found in my Facebook group. It's from someone named Lacey Nicole. It says, who needs a printer? I just got a Sawgrass, so I'm not using it anymore. Giving it away instead to let the dust eat it for free, right out of the inbox. Couple red flags here. For one, nobody's going to give away a sublimation printer for free. Second red flag is their grammar sucks. You can barely understand it. The spelling of their name is weird. Lacey with 2 C's. Like, that's a minor one, but whatever. I click on Lacey's profile to do some digging. There's hardly any information about them, just like one photo. And what's really annoying about these photos is that these photos obviously aren't these scammers from Nigeria's photos. They go and they steal other people's photos. So I could have photos on my own personal Facebook page that these Nigerian scammers are stealing, and then posting all of these posts for sale with my face on it. It's so crazy the amount of hoops that these scammers will jump through to fake their identity and to steal your information and your money and everything that they try to do. So I go and I delete Lacey's post, I block her, yada, yada, yada. And one other scam that I want to talk about before I end this video is scams that happen right here on YouTube. There's scammers in the comments literally all the time. So what these scammers will do is they'll create a fake account. Let's say my account is Cricketer. They'll make one that's like cricketer.kerri. And then they'll go under the comments and leave their links. So what happened to me pretty recently was I had a 35K subscriber giveaway. And to enter my giveaway, you had to leave a comment below. And what tons of these scammers were doing was messaging every single person that commented on my page, and they were saying that they won and to contact them to get their prize. And this was so frustrating to me because I'm like, so many of these people don't know that these are scammers trying to steal their information. And I would feel so awful if one of my followers messaged the scammer and got all of their personal information and money stolen because they don't know any better. So in the future, if you see me doing any kind of giveaways, I will never announce the winner of a giveaway in my comments. I will make another video where I will announce the winner and I will get in touch with you then. If you see any kind of weird links in the comments, especially that's not from me, never click them. These scammers have gotten so good at what they do. There are so many different ways that they will scam you and trick you. So you really have to be aware and cautious when it comes to giving anybody any kind of personal information online. That is all of the examples of scammers that I have seen on my personal Cricut business group within the last week. And that's just my group alone. And I know that there are like hundreds of different Cricut groups on Facebook, and I belong to a whole bunch of them. I'm sure you guys do too. Cricut groups on Facebook are such a great place for people to find project ideas, inspiration, to learn new techniques. And it's such a shame that so many of these scammers sneak their way into these groups. Many of these groups don't have on-post approval like I do, or many of them are run by people who don't moderate the groups. So these scammers just go wild and they post whatever they want. And then maybe you have like Cheryl who's 80 and uses a Cricut machine, and she doesn't know how to watch out for scams. So hopefully Cheryl, this hypothetical person, will watch my video and learn what these scams look like and how to avoid them. I think the best way to avoid scams on the internet is by purchasing through reputable companies. I will only buy my machines from a real store, such as Cricut or Costco or Michaels. Never purchase any kind of blanks or machines on Facebook through a Cricut group. I buy stuff on Marketplace all the time, but the difference is that I'm not sending people money through PayPal or Venmo for this stuff. I am meeting them in person, which is what I tried to get, Robert and Abba and those people to do. You meet up with them in person, preferably at a safe public location like a store or a police station, and then you pay them in cash or you Venmo them on the spot. But don't go and buy stuff online from people you don't know and send them your email and your mailing address and all of this personal information that they have no business having. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. I hope that you never fall victim to any of these scammers. If you enjoyed this video or learned something of value, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my new content.